This episode of Obscure Chatter is brought to you by Neighbors.
How can y'all leave that little strip of grass and not mow it? Are y'all such that bad neighbors that y'all do that kind of stuff? That's freaking ridiculous, man.
And now, on to the episode. Welcome to another episode of Obscure Chatter. I am your host, Terri Doty. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. And if it isn't, welcome back. What you just heard was a guy feeling a lot of stuff about a lawn that was not his. Also known as a neighbor that I have had for over a decade. I saved it, total random tangent at the beginning. I know I usually save those to like 1 or 2 minutes in, I'm sure. No! Really quick, and I will give you a little story behind this, but it's hot here where we're recording, which is in North Texas, and the air quality is abysmal. So, rather than going into the living room and setting up all my stuff like I used to do with that anime show, with Steven, with the mic stand and all that stuff, I'm just in my booth with the door open. Steven is like right next to me with our dog. We will try to keep the outside we'll try to keep the outside noise. Well, who knows? The outside. Where am I from right now? We'll try to keep the noise from out of the booth, from interfering with the show. It really shouldn't be that bad. But, just covering our bases here. That was not going to be the original sponsor of Obscure Chatter. I've been playing with this one thing. I just haven't found the right vibe for which episode this sponsor that will be in the future. I just haven't found the right vibe for it. But I had a note to talk about it, but it was just kind of messing with me, since it is a holiday weekend. Everybody and their mom is mowing their lawn. And here in Texas, there are people that will come up and be like, hey, you notice that your lawn is getting a little high? Do you need me to mow it for you? I'm like, no, just letting it grow. Oh, I don't think you're allowed to do that. You are, to a certain length. But at this point, I'm about to try to get a wild flower, preservation permit or some shit, just so people leave me the fuck alone. Or do one of those rock lawns. Anyways, we have a neighbor next door, this sweet, adorable old lady that we've lived next door to for a while. She's leased the house, so we've seen her off and on, but she lives there by herself now. She's to the right of us, if you're facing the front door. But she's really timid, so we try to leave her alone. She just gets really very squirrely. Even she'll try to say hello to the dog, and Willow, our dog, will just kind of bark, and she'll be like, oh, never mind. She's just that squirmy. But I didn't know this, but the neighbor that you heard at the beginning, he mows her lawn. I later find out he actually kind of stole sweet old lady's lawnmower and kind of just acts like mowing her lawn with her equipment makes it okay. She's tried to get it back, but again, she's really timid, so she's just been kind of letting him have her lawnmower. Anyways, because we, intermediately, whatever the fuck the term is, we don't mow our lawn that often. It's not a religious thing for us. It just isn't. I try to keep up with the property line, and so does Steven, my husband / engineer / co-creator / co-producer of Obscure Chatter. We tend to just stick to the property line. I'm always really weird. I grew up in small towns all over, and, you just stick to your side of the lawn, stick to your side of the fence, all that stuff, And I've very much gotten the impression that Steven is very much that same way. So when we got to the edge of our property onto Alice's property, we just left a little, like, funky spot. I don't know if maybe I need to get on Reddit and do like a am I the asshole? But I just really don't care if I am, because I really don't think I am. But after Steven did his side, there's this little tuft at the end of the, like toward the curb where it's on sweet old lady's side, and we just don't touch it. Just because we didn't want to presume or anything like that. Didn't want to presume. So we leave it alone. We've done it a couple times now, but Steven did it. It was a fuck awful day, and it's only gotten worse since then. Like right now, air quality is so fuck awful. It's bad. But then Steven proceeded to like just kind of go about his day. He had like a big like dinner planned for us. It was on the weekend, and this was a couple weeks ago. It was on the weekend, and he was going to do this really fancy menu because he's been playing more with like different like platings and stuff like that, and just have a nice little romantic night at home because we don't go to restaurants all that often. But I'm just chilling. I have no idea that I'm going to be so grateful for a Ring camera, but I get this boom 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 on my door, and the Ring is delayed. I don't know until later that I have footage of this. I answer the door with a yes, and it's exactly what you heard on at the beginning. Thank you to our sponsors, Neighbors. But legit, I didn't say anything. I just let him do his thing, and he stomped off. All told her. But I'm like, dude, you like legit know nothing about like, I don't know, but he like came in hot. And the thing is like, I don't care if I left like half a corpse in sweet old lady's lawn. Sweet old lady can come to me. You cannot. And I apparently found out that sweet old lady very much begged him not to say anything. She came over, and I say she came over because just to play our bases, or to like set everything straight and just be like cover our bases, play our bases, whatever. We called the cops just to do an information report, just because I don't think someone should just come on your property and yell at you for like doing your lawn. And, like, as Steven is talking to the cops, sweet old lady's like, oh, no. And the cop's like, ma'am, I'll talk to you in a second. And cop's like, God bless Ring cameras. Yeah, show it to me. And he's like, okay, yeah. Cop's like, do you want me to talk to him? It's like, no, I just, just in case someone decides to be super extra down the line, I just want to go ahead and start a paper trail. And, he's like, totally, got it. And cop even says, which I've got in another video, he's like, I would leave that little tuft there. I wouldn't give a fuck. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, we can't really do anything. He didn't cuss. And I kind of overthought about that later, where I was like, I mean, even if he had cussed, I don't know if that would like instinctively mean danger. If there's someone on the law enforcement side that's like, oh, here's what he meant by like, at least I didn't hear any cussing. Cussing is second nature to me. For those who are familiar with my work and just previous shows and previous episodes, you're like, duh, right now. But it was just wild to be like, no. So in my Ring camera, like after we're like, oh, wait, bye, cop. Sweet old lady like runs over to the cop, and he's like, it's fine. He's like, so he's not going to jail? And it's like, no. And then she came over. She's like, I want to know if good old boy actually knows how much Sweet Old Lady blasted him to us. Cause she's like, he has such a temper. You know, it probably stems from his horrible childhood. He has my lawnmower, all this stuff. And she proceeds for like 45 minutes to tell us like the anger issues he has and how he stole her lawnmower and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, well, do you want us to get it for you, or we'll mow your fucking lawn? But yeah, it's like, hey, it wasn't, you know, like malicious or anything. It's on your property, so we didn't want to touch it. I don't know. Some people are really, really fucking intense about lawns. And so I thought I would share that at the top of the episode. You're welcome, and I'm sorry. And yeah, some of you that are renting, or in apartments, I envy you. I really, really do. Is wild. But, yeah, there are more wild things happening. Oh my goodness. I'm like trying to think about all that happened in April. Like at the end of April in our last episode. And then now just grateful to be here. Not gonna lie, like aside from like little things, that bring me a lot of joy. There's a lot of great stuff happening personally and professionally. It is really hard to focus. There was a point just like kind of keeping up with the world at large where I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me, to like talk about life. It seems like kind of artificial sometimes. And it's that weird thing where you want to talk about like, hey, this is what I've been reading, this is what I've been watching, this is what I've been listening to. And then it's like a lot of what I've been watching is on my phone. It's horrendous shit. And how privileged are we that we only have to watch it? We don't have to live it. We don't have to, you know, constantly live in fear or in a state of unknowing, all this shit. So I want to thank you for tuning in, wherever you are listening. And just enjoy the random with me. We hinted at like what's going on movie-wise. Thank you to those that submitted questions and topic requests. As always, I'll try to keep a link going. It'll be open a little bit after this episode for June, but I'm going to stop like necessarily like promoting that. If you have something that you really, really want me to talk about, all you got to do is hit the Google form that's on my link tree through all my social medias. And yeah, let me know what you're thinking. It's just be a part of the podcast. But, music we're listening to a lot in May. We're listening to Bring Me the Horizon. We're listening to Pierce the Veil, The Plot in You, Måneskin. That's how I heard them pronounce it, or Måneskin is how they're also saying it. But I'm really into a lot of their music right now, and I've just been re-listening to Meteora, the Meteora album by Linkin Park. The re-release has got that previously unreleased track, Lost, and just becoming more and more obsessed with it as we go on. But yeah, and then movies in May. Let's see. I've been revisiting a lot of films, and I don't think that would shock anybody. Like, there are movies that are grand, but like revisits, I realized I hadn't seen Ghost as an adult. I remember seeing it as a kid, and now watching it as an adult, I'm like, how the hell did I watch so much that it's like, hey, your tiny brain can't really like grasp what's happening in this, but still a really good film, and like learning little things. But also watched Jawbreaker. Jawbreaker is very much a product of like my teenage years. That's like Rebecca Gayheart, Julia Benz, Rose McGowan, like Rose McGowan before Charmed Rose McGowan. Really, really good. Really, really good. My favorite Western. I hadn't seen it in a while, and it just happened to pop up on Pluto TV, which I'm a big fan of Pluto. remember, we have no endorsements or true sponsorships here at Obscure Chatter. You will know when I have a real sponsorship. I promise you, because I'll have to be like, paid for it, blah, 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 whatever. But my favorite Western. It's also my favorite Sam Raimi film, The Quick and the Dead. Sharon Stone, a young Leo DiCaprio, Gene Hackman, Keith David, Lance Henriksen, a young Russell Crowe. I think this is before Russell Crowe really was well known in the States. I mean, don't quote me on that. I think the first thing I saw Russell Crowe in was Virtuosity. Hey! Which, you know what? Not a bad movie. Showed that to Hoff, too. But the big one that I was not prepared for, it was new to me. I don't watch a lot of movies when they first come out. I just don't. And this one, people talked a lot about it, but I couldn't have been prepared. If I'd seen this movie when it came out, I don't think it would have hit as hard then as it did in the past 2 weeks. And that is Arrival with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. Oh my God, I forget the director, but he did the new Dune films. He's done a whole mess of stuff. But Arrival was hauntingly beautiful and also really, really fucked me up. If you know my history, you might guess as to why. But it was one of those films where oh my God, this is one of those movies that you need to see before you die. But you only have to see it once. Because I don't think I could handle another viewing. I won't spoil it for you. If you have seen it, you might be curious, why it's hitting me so hard. And I'm just going to leave that up to your imagination if you're not aware of my history. But also, there was a point, where Steven and I had the living room lights off and, it's the movie's winding down. You're aware of all that's happening. And I just broke down. I broke down in one of the most cathartic crying sessions I've ever had over a piece of art. And I look over and Steven's dealing with that too, and we were just inconsolable for minutes on minutes. And then we just kind of talked. That led us to have a 2-hour discussion about just how we're feeling and, the what ifs and, also just, if we knew then what we know now, all this stuff. And it's just wild. And it's a very interesting phenomenon because not a lot of films can hit the way that this one did. And it wouldn't hit that way for a lot of people, but it did for me. And I don't know if I can encourage anybody. I don't know if I'm deterring anyone who hasn't seen it or being what the fuck is it? But it's just gorgeous. Amy Adams is never oh shit, Amy Adams is in it. I gotta fucking watch that. But usually anything she's in, I mean anything, you're it's probably really good because she sold being just Jim Halpert's girlfriend for a few episodes of The Office. She was randomly in an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer as just a demon-hating relative of Tara's. She's done all this small stuff that I love seeing how successful she is now. But there's a reason she's so successful. Because, Arrival. Watch it with caution. You are not ready. All right, and as far as television shows, let's see. Keeping Up with Doctor Who, which I'm really enjoying Nishuti's, I believe I'm saying that correctly, Nishuti Gatwa's doctor. He has such an infectious smile, and I love his attitude. And the chick that plays Ruby, fantastic. It's a little jarring for even the specials and one of the episodes to see people that you really know as one character. One of the specials was with Neil Patrick Harris. I particularly don't care for him. He's a big deterrent for me. I was oh yeah, it's starring NPH. I'm good. I want to sit this one out. he just rubs me the wrong way. He's distracting. It's like when you see, oh, okay, it's not on the same level, but like I was watching, like something and a friend of mine was in it and she hadn't told me that she was in an episode of this like giant show. And I couldn't enjoy the episode because I was so focused on like my friend being in this world. If I had maybe been prepared, it wouldn't be so weird, but it was still weird for me. But, I don't like NPH. And it's not that I don't like Jinx Monsoon. Jinx is a phenomenal actor. I was just really a little like confused, like taken out of a Doctor Who story, but Jinx being Jinx, I'm like, oh, I immediately like, that's the difference between Jinx and NPH. It's just Jinx still played a character where NPH just played for, himself. Whatever. But let's see what else. The second season of Reluctant Traveler on Apple with Eugene Levy. Also great. I just love his vibe. He's very sarcastic when he travels. It's a lot of fun. I did watch X-Men 97. I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. And I feel like I'm alone there. But like it did, I watched it in the mornings with my dude over coffee and breakfast. It was okay. I feel like I might be breaking some people's hearts, but for me, I would watch more going down the line, and there were definitely some moments I'm like, oh, this is from issue like blah, or like, oh, okay. And then other times it's like, and that's all I'll say about that. I'm trying to, the big ones, Mayfair Witches, which I've read the books. First season, it just got announced for a second season, and I will definitely check it out. But my main two biggins for May are Fallout, with so many amazing actors. But the one that I'm going to point out is one that's just worked in so much. But I want to say this is his first lead. It's Walton Goggins, who plays Cooper / the Ghoul. He was amazing. I finished Fallout pretty quickly, and I'm gonna let it rest for a bit, and then I'm gonna watch it again. No, I did not play the games or anything like that. It's just that it's that freaking good. You don't have to have played the games. You're not missing anything. There are definitely Easter eggs and everything for gamers, but I didn't feel like I was missing anything. And currently, what I'm still watching week to week is Interview with a Vampire Season 2. That should shock nobody that follows me on social media, because I will not stop posting about it. I love it. Sam Reed's Lestat is everything, and I hope for more down the line. And I'm ready to get my heart broken. So there's that. If you know, you know. Keep waiting to hear lawnmowers. But as far as reads, reread Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. If you're a big fan of dark-ish romance, give it a little perusal. Maybe it'll be your cup of tea. It's not too dark. It's just, it's heavy subject matter, and I believe in love, and there's an age gap and all this stuff. But and then there's Lore Olympus Volume 5. Pick that up. I got to finish Lore Olympus on Webtoon, and that was bittersweet, because I've enjoyed making that a part of my life for these past several years. It's interesting enough. My former best friend got me into it. She really knew that I was into mythology. I was always a mythology dork. I was that annoying kid in freshman English that's like, actually, it's this, and I've already read Odysseus, and but it's a fantastic story, and I'm really looking forward to what Rachel Smythe, or Smith? I never heard it pronounced. I'm gonna say Smythe. I'm really looking forward to what she does next. But if this is, if the rest of her life is just chilling and vibing, I think she's earned it. It's been like 8 years of her life doing these like single issue, like every week or so. And then, getting so big, having to, hire more people and work through chronic wrist pain and carpal tunnel and all this is like, man. And then it was such a huge success. I can't imagine what that does. Like, obviously there are a lot of positives to it, but then you want to be like, it's not just for me anymore. Does that make sense? Where like your art becomes big, so you're not just doing it for you anymore? I really don't know if that makes sense. But, and then the other big one that I read the follow-up to Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. I really liked it. I really did. I didn't love it the way I loved the first book. So I'm looking forward to the third one. I had no idea this was going to be a 5-book series, and, there are only 2 that are out. Sometimes for me, I'm a completionist, so I wish that I'd waited maybe a couple years before, for all of the books to come out, because it ended on a cliffhanger, and cliffhangers fuck with my brain. They really, really do. If you have a cliffhanger, you warn a base well before I start reading the prologue. Warn me. I don't know, but yeah. Oh my gosh. It's weird energy. Not just today, just like I had posted, like what a long year last week was. And I had a few kind of people being like, is everything okay? Da, 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 da. And I was very touched by like the outpour of like concern and support. But then a part of me, I was like, guys, I'm really upset at the world, which I mentioned previously. And I don't know how to start that conversation without seeming rude, but I had a moment where I'm like, I was so confused why people didn't get what I was really referring to. I know that some people, I've lost followers here and there talking about world issues and all of that, but I just don't think it benefits anybody for me to like edit how I feel about some really atrocious shit going on in the world. Some of which can be limited by, simple things like, off the top of my head, permanent ceasefire, just a permanent ceasefire. Like, what if we tried that? What if, and I might have lost some of you, and goodbye. Bye. Adios. Later. See ya. I was going to say fuck off, but no, I won't hide that stuff. It did have one question sent to me that's like, do you feel as though you're limiting your opportunities by talking about world issues? I'm like, I don't think so. I just don't think so. If there are people that are really more upset about what I'm reposting and, saying very bluntly, which is, like, hey, there really isn't a justification for murdering children, anything like that. If that upsets you more than actual, like, ethnic cleansing, I would invite you to kind of do some inner reflection, like a lot. And we'll just leave it at that. But, no, like that was asked in good faith, I believe. But, I'm working here and there. I had mentioned that, that I'm in a show called, A Condition Called Love. And, since then, there's been a 3rd season of that time I got reincarnated as a slime, and my character from season 2 has returned. So I've gotten to play with, it's always so wild to be able to come back to stuff. But, when I go in for stuff, I haven't felt as though, I have to walk a tightrope or anything like that. I think people know what I'm about. And I think people that I work with, I typically have a pretty good read on what they're about. And it's really nice to vibe with people that, see everybody else as people. It's pretty great. So if the end result is me working less, but working with, good people, I'm okay with that. That's right. Let's see, what else? I did have, I can't be alone in that, because I'm freelance, I still, occasionally interview for other things. And, because of my crap experience as a senior copywriter with a marketing firm, marketing agency, I say advertising agency or something. I don't know. But, I used to be the head writer for a live television shopping channel, basically. But because that ended so horrendously, because it just got to the point where every day I was like, hey, so I want to die. Not being glib or anything like that. It's I don't want to live if this is my life. It got that bad. So when people reach out for jobs now, I am very blunt. I got a job offer this morning, or a job request, an interview request. And we love your resume. I'm okay, great. Well, thanks for reaching out. What about my resume stood out to you? Well, your experience doing this and this and this. We would love to talk to you more. Okay, what's the job? Well, it would be, information technologies. I'm uh-huh. And we work with, robotics and da-da-da. I'm is it artificial intelligence? Yes. How would my job be working with AI? It would be teaching nope, not doing it. There are actually benefits to AI, and me taking jobs away from, human beings in that respect really doesn't thrill me. So I was no, thank you. Enjoy your day. They're can I ask what your aversion is? Well, I don't have enough time, Glenda, to really talk about it. So no, thank you. And then, I had another one where I had already kind of been, warned from a couple of other writers, hey, this one company is really, really looking for people, that want to work for cheap. And so when their recruiter got to me, I'm I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at your Glassdoor, and I've also just heard some pretty horrendous stuff from people that have worked there. I'm in no way interested in that. But if you have a real offer for a company that values talent, feel free to reach out to me. And it was very much thank you for being so, ellipses, candid with me. We'll definitely keep you in mind for the future. That was corporate for look, bitch, you didn't have to say anything. But yeah. But the last one, as for, I got reached out personally. It's hey, you have, a really good resume for what we're looking for. I looked at their job, and it was, almost made for me. It was, me handling a team of writers, helping them grow, and working with animation. Animation and creating content for kids. I love writing for kids. Kids are fun. And... they're yeah, no, we would, if you could send us your portfolio and did it. I'm sure, here you go. And it's very rare that I get feedback immediately, but it's loved this. I even did my cover letter, which I rarely do. And, yeah, we would love to talk to you. And, they'd given me their website and work from home, all this stuff. And then, I looked at Glassdoor, and their Glassdoor rating was super no bueno. Super no bueno. So I actually messaged them back. I'm hey, I know we're supposed to talk on Friday, and this was Monday. Can I ask, it says work from home, but you're located in Austin. Yes. Would you be expecting me to move to Austin? Yes. Like, even though you said it was work from home. Like, where does it say that? Like, on literally everything you sent me. Yeah, you'd have to move to Austin. Like, why did you message me? Like, well, we assumed, like, you didn't say anything about Austin when you asked for my resume. They're like, well, when you filled out the job application, I'm like, I didn't fill out the job application. You messaged me personally and asked me for my resume. I did not send anything out. And yeah, no, again, it's like, I'm very much about the, like, I'm not going to waste your time. Please don't waste mine. But they were like gobsmacked that, like, I wasn't considering moving to Austin when they didn't mention it to me. I'm like, I drive to Austin all the time. I could do like 1 or 2 days in the office, but like, I would not move there. Like, it's a big thing about, growing up and being a teenager here in North Texas. That's a big thing that a lot of us do when we graduate high school is we move to Austin. Austin is, or I don't know if it is anymore. It's considered more liberal, which is a big bonus, or what people consider to be more liberal or left. When I say liberal, I do not mean the liberal sense, blah, 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 blah. We could talk about that a whole fuckload later. But, the last time I went there, I was like, Austin's getting a little more, ugh. Don't quote me on that. Just help me find better places in Austin because my old haunts are either gone or more like corporate feeling now. Ugh. But I just like where I live. If I moved anywhere else right now, I don't think it would be anywhere in Texas. But yeah, I'm just baffled to be like, yeah, no, we would love to interview you. Like, you reached out to me. You know where I live if you reached out to me. But yeah, just not wasting any time. Not wasting any time on that. No. Let's see. Where did I get? I got a really weird question from somebody. Or not a weird question, but like a topic request. Where is it? Or a question, yes. I'm going to go ahead and read this question. Thank you guys so much for sending me stuff. I was like hearing from y'all, if I haven't made that clear yet. Okay, so reading now. I was watching this actress try to calmly explain that she is not her character, that she is her own person. It seemed like she got a lot of heat, and many people were antagonistically started referring to her only by her character name. My questions: does being referred to as a character you've played bother you? Does context matter? See, that's what I mean. It's not a weird question. It's just that good and a very specific question to moi. It is, I think there's a time and a place. Like if I'm on a fairy tale panel, like it's okay for someone to call me like Virgo or Jalal or, done, interviews with Monster Girls panels and be like, this is for Machi or, blah, blah, blah. I'll answer that. But what's really weird is when I'm just like talking, especially online, like just talking and it's in no way related to, my body of work and someone's like, oh, Virgo, like Virgo's not talking. I cannot speak as Virgo or for Virgo. I'm Terri. I'd prefer to be called by my name. Terri Doty, Terri Doty, if you're feeling zesty. There are names that would feel weird for anybody else to call me except for like my husband, like baby, wifey, stuff like that. If somebody else called me wifey, I don't know what I would do. Or like to my family, I'm typically TJ, but yeah, being called like, Minare or Mori Mori very rarely happens. It's typically Virgo. I get called Virgo a lot and it's like, I'm not Virgo. But I mean, does it bother me? No, but yes, context does matter. It really, really does. If I'm talking about, a permanent ceasefire and someone's like, Virgo, what are you doing? You're like, no. Beige. We're not talking about fairy tale right now. We're talking about, stopping people from dying. Would appreciate being referred to as Terry for that. And here's another one, and it has a little asterisk. How familiar is Stephen with your work? And a little asterisk. This is definitely in reference to Raven Simonier and her wife. Which, by the way, I learned that I've been saying her last name wrong all these years. It's Simonier, not Raven Simone. But I had to look this one up, cause I did see like a bunch of people using like a still of like Raven and her wife. But I guess they did a podcast interview where her wife wasn't familiar with like her body of work. Stephen and I have been together almost 18 years. In June or in next month, it'll be, oh my God, Stephen, 15 years married? 15 years married. So, yeah, it would be really weird if he wasn't familiar with my work. I had done a bunch of theater and indie film, like B horror movies and stuff, and then stopped acting for a while. And then when Stephen and I moved in together, we started working together a lot. We did sound design for haunted houses, and just friends demos and stuff. And then, we both worked at Funimation, him as a sound engineer and me as a voice director / writer / voice actor. But we rarely worked together. But we worked together, like that's how we met. We met working together at Guitar Center. He's cast me as a lead in a show he's directed. So I think maybe this is just your way of like mentioning Raven Simonier, but yeah, my partner is very familiar with my work. Yeah. So there's that. There's one thing that I know that Mother's Day isn't really an easy thing for a lot of people. And in reference to Arrival, like obviously that was a big deal, like for me as well. But Mother's Day, I felt like I was more reflective than I have been in the past couple of years. And yeah, for those who don't know, I did lose a child before she was born, and I am sometimes really good about keeping the bad feelings in check, but I also just don't want to ignore those feelings when they bottle up. So, I'm very open in dialogue with my partner. And when I worked at the marketing firm that I was with, I made a lot of really good friends that I've talked about before. I had some really good girlfriends over the years, but it's interesting to kind of form a bond with these girls that I worked with because we all have very different jobs. One is a makeup artist, one's an art director, and another is a brand manager that's like amazing, an accounts manager, excuse me. And one of the times we're vibing, I kind of let them know like some about my history. And when another one of us got, like a friend in the group, when she was pregnant with her first, I had them kind of like checking with me to make sure that I wasn't feeling triggered and feeling okay. It was just so thoughtful. And, just being like, I don't want to take away from, friends' excitement. And I'm just so, there are people that, when they announce like, hey, we're pregnant. You're like, oh, thank God, a fucking cool person's having a kid. Thank fuck. And if I don't have that reaction when you tell me you're pregnant, just ignore me. I'm thinking you're cool in my head. Sorry, I'm not babbling on there. But, there was, I don't know, I was kind of like in my feelings about it, and Steven and I have talked about it before. It's like, do we talk about like Mother's Day? And I'm also no contact with my mom, and Steven was very close to his mother. It's been a while since she passed, but you know, it's something you think about every day. These are things that you just think about all the time, and definitely also keeping in mind the mothers and the motherless that are still suffering well past Mother's Day, and we're still suffering well before. Keeping them in my thoughts. So there was I guess just a big recipe for a lot of big feelings. But one of my girlfriends in that group, in the group it's called You Can't Sit With Us. She reached out. Let me see if I can. I hope you guys don't mind, but I would love to share it with you. It got me. She's always had the kindest stuff to say. And my God, I love her so much. On Mother's Day, a little before 1 p.m., she sent me, I haven't read this in a while, excuse me, but, Happy Mother's Day to my most nurturing and caring friend who looks after all of us and fights for us fiercely. You're a blessing to me, and I'm so grateful I get your love and care. I was like having lunch and with my dude, and I just get that, and he's like, what? I'm like, fucking Katie, man. She just got me. She got me in the feels, and you know, we responded here and there, but it's just like, I don't know. It got a really big dialogue of us talking about Steven kind of being like, I wouldn't mind like us doing something for you like every year. We haven't really talked about it in a while. And I asked him about Father's Day and stuff like that. It is an interesting thing. We've gone to support groups and we've definitely talked about it because there just is an interesting weird dichotomy where like people ask if you have kids and you say no, but it feels wrong. But it would also feel wrong to be like, yeah, because I don't know. It's a crazy little like torture device that you have. But I hope that you guys had great Mother's Days and celebrating amazing people. And all of that being said about my personal history, if you ever see me out in public, which remember I don't have green hair anymore, I'm blonde, and you need a mom hug, you fucking come to me. Come to me. Tell me who you are. Being like, I just really need a hug. And I will mom hug the shit out of you. Not literally, because please don't defecate. My hugs are great. They are not shit your pants worthy. But always there. If I ever go to cons again, anything like that, yes, you need a mom hug. I am there. There we go. Man, yeah, no, May's, I guess, a period of reflection. Had a lot of friends have birthdays, friends that I've had for years. And also I had a friend come in from Hawaii. She has her and her husband have a shop in Hawaii, food market. And she brought me this like honey from Hawaii, which Steven's already worked through quite a bit. And she's just someone that I've known since like I was 16. So it was fun to just catch up. We got some pho, got some boba, and then went comic book shopping. Yeah, I got some more Olympus and found Steven a 1980 Marvel comic featuring Tom Baker on the cover from Doctor Who. It's pretty neat. But yeah, there's something about people from your childhood, like your formative years, and just kind of being like, hey, remember when we saw people that are our age now and we really thought they had their shit together? She's like, yeah, what's that about? It was really great to catch up and just like talk shit, and just she looked really happy, and I feel like I'm at a pretty good place personally. But yeah. And we did talk about something that also was brought up with my friend Katie, and it's this concept. It kind of tied back into what we talked about at the beginning of the last episode, which was everybody losing their mind over me saying smut, not going into graphic detail, not narrating a smut book about, gargoyle shifter named Darren trying to like secure his knot in his lover's fair, or whatever the fuck. I just came up with that. I'm sorry, but also impressed with myself. Nothing like that. It was just the word smut. But it's a weird thing. Like, Kat and I were talking about just like this concept that so many people still have. And it's only gotten worse lately, it seems. This whole like, be a lady. Aren't you, I'm surprised nobody clocked this, but I did an Ask Me Anything, last week for Instagram. And it's like, what's your favorite role? And I went, being a wife. JK, haha. I'm surprised someone wasn't like, excuse me. But we were talking about like that kicker that made, his whole speech about his wife's life not starting until she became a wife and mother, to which my first response was like, wait, I thought for some of y'all, like, life began at conception, but we can talk about that. Never. But Katie, I actually had to ask her about this because Katie is really active on Instagram. She does a lot of really great videos. She just did a podcast appearance. Check out Katie Moyer. I will give you a link to her Instagram within this episode. If you go to obscurechatter.com, if you go to the episode details, hit Katie's name, it'll take you to her Instagram. But Katie, she gets to work on so many cool things. She actually used to be a makeup artist on some old like Crunchyroll videos, like little Crunchyroll promos and all that when they used to film at this place that I used to film my little show where I was the senior copywriter. But yeah, like small world for all of that. But she does get a lot of trolls in her comments. But one of these things, there's someone that always has something to say. And one of the comments was like, I don't know. Oh my God, what was it? Oh, there's something about whenever she does her makeup, sometimes there's this bare mattress. It's like, oh, a bare mattress. That's thrilling. Something like that. And she responded, like, your dad didn't mind. And like, I've read so many books. I think I'm incredibly well read and cultured and all that stuff, but sometimes nothing hits like that's not what your mom said, or like your dad didn't mind, or there's a shirt that I really, really want. Katie and I have talked about it. I was my only cardio is writing your dad. I don't know where the fuck I would wear it, but it's fucking hilarious. Shit like that. But I messaged Katie, and she's like, I have never lost more followers in a day than I did when I made that joke. Like, what? And then she shared, that this one woman, I was like, that's not how a lady acts. And Katie brought up a good point. It's this whole like good girl syndrome. It's this, it just kind of, it's this internal like messaging that we got. Sometimes it's a cultural thing, but I don't know. I feel like it happens to us globally where we were often kind of told in little snide ways, how to behave, how we are expected to behave. So therefore, when we don't meet that stereotypical expectation, we are failing and not being ladies or ladylike. It's just so incredibly harmful to not only just our relationships, but our mental health. It mentally fucks with you. And, Kat and I talked about this a lot, and expanded on it because I mentioned to her like the smut thing, and, she kind of shared some stuff, but it's just like wild to me. Like I even had that a lot. I had that a lot when I was dating, when where there was this one guy that's like, I really like hanging out with you, but like, it really, really bothers me that we're not the same religion. I'm like, well, I'm not any religion. I'm agnostic. I love being able to be skeptical, but still like have like that spark of belief. I love reading about all these different cultures, and I love seeing people that are incredibly devout to their faith. I don't know. I respect the fuck out of that, but it's just not me. And that's over years of, my own experiences kind of disappointing me and me going, I would love to just stay curious about stuff. But yeah, as a guy that, didn't like that I wasn't religious, didn't like that I was the same religion, and he really, really had a problem with me cussing or cursing, badly. You like you gotta be a good girl, you gotta be kind to others, or you should always be happy or anything like that. It's just, I don't get it. Like, we're always supposed to be like one specific thing. Like, the second we are multifaceted, it just throws a lot of people off. I don't understand it. It's like, be compassionate and warm and cheerful and soft-spoken and loyal. Like, it's anything like that doesn't hit those marks, you are failing. You are not a lady. You are not ladylike. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, that used to really bother me. Like, my go-to outfit, I've seen people, like, this was old, that anime show days. Some people used to cosplay me, which was hoodie, ironic t-shirt, jeans, chucks, scowl where a smile should be. Even though I'm incredibly smiley, like, a lot of people very much give me the Janine Garofalo, Daria Morgendorfer treatment, and I get it. But, it's just, all of this just results in, like, us feeling that we're not hitting that, we're not able to move from that pedestal. We're just, it just invokes this fear of being a disappointment, but also being disappointed. And I mean, how often do you do that? And you just constantly, you're so afraid of not being what this person in front of you is expecting you to be, or what their definition of being a lady is, that it's this constant fear of rejection, which ends up kind of being avoidance. And so you end up kind of hiding within yourself. It's like, no, thank you. I would much rather piss a bunch of people off by not being what they deem to be ladylike than, be some weird hermit shell thing. I don't know. But yeah. And, I don't know. It's always wild to me. It's just so many different things that I could go like this little, and this happened too. But really, like, one of the big things that I really thought I was going to talk about more was like the blocking thing. And I have noticed, I've been blocking a lot of people, some of which I grew up watching. And it's this weird kind of, you're finally seeing, I don't know, like the decline of, what do they call it? Like stan culture, where a lot of people have, parasocial relationships with celebrities. And I say celebrities, not actors, not artists. I say like the celebrity of that actor or artist. And definitely like with the Met Gala, that came to a big head. It read Hunger Games. It read just... And I know the Met Gala brings in money for like costume history and all this stuff. But I mean, it just felt weird. It felt really, really weird and very tone deaf. Like change. I understand. Like it's we've been doing this for a while. It's like, change is hard. I understand that. There are a lot of small steps that lead to a big journey. I understand that. But we can't pretend as though we are incapable of change. When I talk about Palestine and all that stuff, this is stuff that I have learned about just within the last year and continue to learn about. We can't keep just saying like, oh, well, I didn't realize this would be such a hot button issue and all of that. We're all a lot smarter than we pretend to be. It's almost in that good girl syndrome wheelhouse where it's like, well, I don't know, I don't want to upset anybody. I think if you're not upsetting at least a couple of people, you're doing something wrong. In my experience, it was something that's like, oh, you're a people pleaser? Name 3 people that are pleased with you. And think about that. But I think artists are some of the most outspoken people out there. They are about art. They are about showing their politics in their artwork, be that paintings, be that costuming and fashion. Fashion is political, and so that's just another reason where I feel like the Met Gala doesn't really have any kind of real argument to where it's like, oh, we didn't see what everybody else is seeing. Like, you did, you just didn't care, or you thought that we wouldn't care. But I don't know, that led to, yes, us blocking a lot of people. And I gotta say, it's incredibly freeing. I will say, I can't believe that I've blocked some of the people that I have, because some of these people are part of, my childhood and all that stuff, but that doesn't mean that they are free of consequence. If you play, let's say, just for an instance, if you play the leader of a resistance group that will not stand for the tyranny and the murder and just the complete horrors that this organization has inflicted, if you play that character and then that scene ends and you go home and you see everything that's happening in the world and you say it's complicated, or worse, you stand for the tyranny that your character represents, I gotta say, kudos to you for being such a brilliant actor, because holy fuck, really? Hurts my heart. It really does. But not as much as, ethnic cleansing, which could be stopped at any point with what did we say earlier, kids? Permanent ceasefire. Yay! I said the secret words! I'm not, if this comes off preachy, that is not my intention. I'm just flummoxed. I'm gobsmacked. I'm other words confused and lost here. And I think that I'm talking to the right audience, because you guys have stuck around with me this long as we talk about all that stuff. But I just, I do have a link to an amazing organization called Operation Olive Branch. I follow them on TikTok and Instagram, I believe. But I have a link on my link tree that gives you a lot of great information if you feel that you can, help support any current GoFundMes to families attempting to flee the horrors that they live every day, and have well before October. If you could help in any way, even if it's just sharing something, I think that goes a long way. And, I love you guys. I really, really do. And I love that you guys, I've been getting some messages about, just, hey, thanks for saying something, da-da-da-da-da. I did have some people ask me, what about this actor? I can't speak for other actors. It's, again, that parasocial thing. I know that all of us seem like we're really close to each other, but we're all different people. I'm hoping that more people speak up and use their voice and their platforms. Try to be civil. Let's not be, too intense about it. And also, please feel free to do your research. We've had a lot of people that I personally know and don't know at all get attacked for the wrong reasons. There are a lot of people that are a lot more vocal than some people are giving credit for. But in the end, if something really bothers you, block. If you need to block me, block me. I hope it helps. But as June happens, it feels kind of wild with everything that's personally, professionally, and just globally. It's kind of wild that we're here. I believe next month it'll be 5 years since we've done Obscure Chatter. It's next month or July. I want to say it's June. And when we originally started the show, I think I've talked about this before, but the June or July episode is actually a redo of the original episode. And I don't think I've ever gone into details, but I honestly don't know if I've brought that up before. The first episode of Obscure Chatter is not really the first episode of Obscure Chatter. The first episode was done in April. It was done in April, and then I went through some really intense shit. And Steven and I hadn't done anything with the episode. We played it, and that was just a very different Terri that did that first episode. We didn't want to start off the show with an episode that no longer reflected who we were. As Obscure Chatter has grown, because obviously we started in 2019 and then 2020 was its whole big bag of stuff. And let's not pretend as though we're not still dealing with, COVID and just a whole mess of other horrible things going on. Air quality. I haven't been able to take a walk without pollution really fucking me up in almost 2 weeks. Just really great shit. But all this stuff, and I didn't think that I would ever have to constantly talk about, please share this link and please help this family and da-da-da. And there are so many other people struggling. Please help however you can. And thank you so much for allowing me to be me through this process and sticking with me. I really appreciate everybody that listens and shares Obscure Chatter with people. We're still getting new listeners all the time. We just got on iHeartRadio, which is really, really cool. And please let me know where you're listening to Obscure Chatter, or if there's a place that I'm not thinking of. And no, there are no plans to do video podcasts. I am wearing no bra and some really ratty shorts right now, and I'm not giving that up for nobody. But all of that's to say, just what we've gone through in these 5 years is insane, but we've gotten through it together. Again, thank you so much for letting me be me, and I love that you're being you. Let's keep in touch. What do you say, next month? Want to hang out next month? Let's hang out next month. Until next time, please check out Operation Olive Branch. Please check out a whole mess of stuff with links included that will be in the episode itself on obscurechatter.com. I always include links on obscurechatter.com. Until next time, read good shit, watch good shit, and toy with the idea of not being a shit. Later.